And welcome back to the Black Tornado Podcast, your home for underground metal. Today I'm sitting in with Scott from Swift. What's up, Scott?
Yeah, hello.
Hi.
Everything is golden. What about you?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. I'm glad we could get you on the show. I know we've been talking about this for a little while, and we just had to do some planning, and now we're here, which is really cool. I listened to some of your music, man. That's some intense shit. That's intense. It's good.
Well, when I was growing up, well, I'm still growing up, young as hell,
Yeah.
but I was really inspired by some intense bands like Rings of Saturn, Infant Annihilator, as of lately, Lorna Shore, and I was like, man, I want to do this music, and now I'm doing this music.
Yeah, I saw God, this must have been like 10 years ago. I saw Rings of Saturn. And
Oh,
real quick before we get into your music, since you
mm.
brought them up, do you remember the controversy with Lucas and
Which one?
okay, well, right, there's so many, but the main one where he was playing and there was a clock. It might have been multiple clocks, but there was an analog clock behind him because people were saying that wasn't it that they were saying that he couldn't play his own music in real time?
Well, yeah, something like that. But I mean, I remember during that controversy, I looked up some live shows, and I mean, they were really good. They were probably playing to the pre-recorded guitars or whatever. Wouldn't judge on those things, but I mean, that looked good to me, sounded pretty good, and I was like, well, man, why wouldn't people just go and watch how people play live? I mean,
It sounded that way to me when I saw them, but it didn't take away from the show. I mean, at the end of the day, say what you want about Lucas, he's a good frontman. He's a good showman. Like he's good for the center stage, but yeah, controversy does not escape that band. They've always got something. But I think a lot of it too is he kind of runs his mouth a little bit on social media to people, and
well, yeah, but I mean, I kind of understand him. Like, the guy has his viewpoints. Why
sure,
wouldn't he share them? I mean, one thing, he got into some controversy with the label, and then I was like, just why do this? Like, why?
right.
Because everything was all right. The vocals in the band were awesome, and then almost everybody just left. I was like, man, I love Rings of Saturn. Just why do this? Why become an instrumental band? I mean, I would
Right.
scream for them if they had
Yeah.
an opening.
Well, see, that's what Rings to Saturn has to do. Then they got to contact you and get the ball rolling again.
Oh yeah, right.
That would be cool. Let's get into this, man. So composing music.
Yeah.
How long have you been making music as a whole?
Well, it depends. I mean, I started learning just out of fun in 2017, probably, when I
Okay.
got my first just analog mic, the SM57. I got my acoustic guitar. I mean, I was in school, probably in the eighth grade or some stuff like that. And I just recorded like a somewhat fancy, folky kind of thing. Prior to that, I just had the basic music education on the guitar class,
Sure.
and yeah, but I always loved metal. Like, it started from rock, then it became the metal thing, and I was always like the non-academic guy. Like,
Hmm.
I would get all my info from the Adam Neely channel, the Ben Levin channel, all those jazz guys.
Yeah.
Then I would like watch some Spectre Sound Studio, some JST, Your Academy, and over the years I just learned how to do this thing, right? So, I mean, I was probably making songs like seriously for the last year and a half, probably. I mean, yeah, now looking back at it, I'm just starting out.
Well, that's what tomorrow's for, man. We've
Oh
all
yeah,
got
sure.
we've all got time to focus our craft, and but it's cool. It gives you something to do, and you're good at it, so you might as well keep it up.
Oh yeah, thanks a lot, man.
You
Thanks.
know. Before the deathcore, when you were just
Mhm.
starting out,
Oh,
what would you say your early influences were?
My early influences. You know, I remember when I was like 12 or 13 years old, which was 10 years ago. Oh, yeah. I mean, I was just browsing social media and I found this post there. It had two particular bands that were attached to it. They were My Chemical Romance and Korpiklani. The
Okay.
songs were Na 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 and what was it? Evans Polka.
Okay.
And then I just heard them and went like, oh man, that's so great that I just love their music. And then I just got deeper and deeper. I mean, I've listened to probably all the My Chemical Romance albums as well as Korpiklani. I mean, they're active now and I think they're putting out some great music. Sadly, they're not heard by much more people. I mean, they deserve more, in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah, so it was like emo rock,
Yeah.
emo,
Right. Yeah.
yeah, and folk rock. But then, yeah, I got into metal pretty quickly. I mean, I've always dreamt of like playing some heavy stuff with the guitars and the kick drum. I mean, oh man, the fast
Yeah.
kicks. I mean, you know, like every
Yeah.
little kid wants to hear the fast, just
Right.
going right at it.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah. So what was your introduction to like the deathcore, the more melodic kind of stuff?
The more melodic, well, a little bit of course, but I never got introduced into the non-melodic stuff. I mean, for
Okay.
me, I was always like the guy that fancies the melody and all the harmonies, all the inner workings of notes. I always found Suicide Silence, for example, to be really harsh and off-putting for me. Like a year or two ago, when I just gave them a thorough listen, and I went like, oh man, yeah, Mitch Lucker is the shit. Oh,
Suicide Silence was one of those bands that
yeah.
I don't remember the festival, but I didn't know who they were. And I was there
Mhm.
for other bands and they hit the stage and I was a fan by the time they walked off. You know, I'd never heard them before. And Mitch's vote, this is back when Mitch was still with us. Mitch's vocals were just, I mean, another great frontman, another person that you want at the center of the stage. I mean, the way that he could command a crowd, you want to talk about high energy. I mean, Mitch
Oh yeah.
Lurker is high energy.
Well, I mean, not all of his stuff was like safe. I mean, I'm a vocal coach, so I analyzed a bit of his stuff. Like sometimes students ask me, "Oh, how do I make the Mitch Locker kind of energetic stuff?"
Yeah.
And then I'm like, "Well, it's not really safe, but there are safe ways to imitate that." But the reason he's not that safe is because he's putting just so much energy into every single word. I was like, just, oh my God, that's so brutal.
Well, that's kind of interesting. So, how did you get into vocal coaching?
Oh, well, it's kind of a long story because I used to think I cannot sing. Like, it was really difficult for me. So I had like this personal teacher, a private one, for my music school, and like one word after another. And he said that he was a baritone in some classical theater nearby. And so he started teaching me. And yeah, man, it went really hard. I didn't know how to get the all the note sweeps and the voice, how to just speak normally, basically. Yeah, and then I got into some arguments with that guy because like I was young, he was like not really a patient teacher, and I just put it really uh, yeah, just the brain freeze,
Right.
So I just took a really long pause in studying vocals, but I guess I couldn't help it because later I listened to some music and some more screamy stuff. And I
Right.
was really fascinated by them. I remember walking down the alley at night and just humming to myself. Well, not really humming, but something like.
Yeah, just kind of getting like the guttural sounds in.
Well, just basically any sounds. And I
Yeah.
remember feeling it in my chest, feeling it in my throat, feeling it in my nose, everywhere. And I'm like, where the hell is the right sound generation.
Yeah.
I was so lost, man, so lost. And then I used to play in this trap metal band called ASSP. And
Okay.
basically, after a while, I used to be the guitar player in that band. Our vocalist actually introduced me to another guy. His name, he is playing in the band By the Goat.
Okay.
Like, yeah, just take a wild bite of this goat, man. But he was a vocal teacher. And so he introduced me to false chord, all the energetic and really basic stuff like that, all of this stuff. And I started to get kind of good, not really good, but it was enough to just start this thing. And after a while, I found another teacher who was really in depth into anatomic stuff, like the EVT, CVT stuff, all the inner workings of the organs, and like just how to properly make a lot of sounds, right?
Yeah.
And I spent like a year and a half with him, and 7 months out of that year, I spent just on high pitched screams because getting into this position was real fucking hard for me. I just couldn't get it, you know?
Yeah.
I was like coughing up, I was tensing up, everything was just bad, man.
Yeah.
And then one day it was like, wow! And it just works and has worked ever since. So while he was teaching me, I just got all the information memorized, all the inner workings. I mean, I had a lot of troubles with my voice. I've made a lot of mistakes. And then I was just like, well, since I'm so invested into the anatomics, into the inner workings of this process, let me just try, like, to reach out to some people, put like a listing out there that, oh, hey, I teach vocals, you can come to me and you can learn vocals too. And so I started teaching first of all, like in the beginning, it was only to my friends for like low prices and that stuff. But then the business, I would call that a business. It grew and more people came and I saw like, whoa, I'm getting results. My students are singing, they are having fun, they are making correct sounds and they sound epic. And I was like, whoa, well, that's great. And I just never stopped, man. I guess it's the matter of converting the information that you get into the information that you share. I remember one guy, like that Asian guy, who's talking about speech and how to speak, how to hold and present yourself. I saw him mention that you memorize only 10% when you just look at a lecture. You memorize like 30% when you write down the lecture. You memorize up to the 70, I guess, percent of the information when you rehearse and like repeat the information. And then to get to that 90%, you got to teach another person, like see another person get information from you and do the thing that you learn to do correctly. And yeah, it really enforces the skill, man. It's really helpful.
Well, I'm definitely one of those people, the writing everything down. You know, I'm just that person with notebooks and stuff because that's what helps me retain the information best is that if somebody's telling me something, I'm taking notes on it. You know, then I can review the notes later and it kind of reinforces what I've learned. You know, just like with your saying about it being 70%, you know, by writing everything down makes absolute sense to me. So you've had quite a few students, so it kind of picked up for you.
Yeah, and I actually do right now. I mean, they come from all over the world, but yeah, they aren't many at the moment, but like I do some live shows. I work with some local rappers, for example. That's a whole different story. So, and then more people see my stuff, more people see me, and then I get either good students or lazy IT students, like you know that guy that, yeah, I make money by programming, and I'll come to you, I'll pay you money, but I wouldn't do anything on my own, and after half a year, I will sit here with my eyes wide open and wonder, why didn't I learn anything?
It's kind of like the only time that they're practicing is when they're with you.
Yeah, right.
Like they don't do the homework. They're just in class.
Yeah,
Right.
only that. Like, I mean, it can work. Like, for example, just recently, one of my students who is a professional bodybuilder, actually, like well, he takes like 4 hours a week, but only practices when he's with me.
Okay.
And he used to have real bad progress. Like, we would do some clean sitting, we would like make little steps towards his goals,
Hmm.
but he got nowhere near, and I was just almost getting frustrated. But then one day we were having a lesson, and then he showed me every fucking possible way to make an extreme vocal sound, like from
Wow.
the mixed vocals to false chords to fry screams and to even the whistle tones, which are extremely difficult. I mean, after the lesson, he, of course, forgot everything because he took a really long break. But
Yeah.
that day was like, holy crap, man! Like, you do this, you could do this. I taught you this. Whoa!
Yeah.
And I was just, yeah, lost in words, man. But that was sick.
Yeah. That is cool. All right. So I was gonna ask anyway, but I can see
Mm.
behind you a whole mess of guitars and
Oh
whatnot.
yeah, right.
So I've been asking this question as of recent because I'm a little bit of a gearhead, especially when it comes to pedals and
Mhm,
stuff. Like
right.
I love my pedals. Do you have a favorite piece of gear and why?
Let me start with the. I can actually connect it because I'm sitting here by the Ableton stream. So yeah, here it goes. Here, yeah. This is the guitar. I'm gonna start with the funny one. And by the way, do you know the band Darkor US?
I'm gonna say no. I not off the
Oh,
top of my head.
yeah. That's shame. Like, they're modern deathcore, right? Another project of Tom Barber
Okay.
from Chelsea Green. Yeah.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. Okay. I know Chelsea Gren.
well, yeah, but just a moment here. And now it sounds like I'm living in the basement.
Yeah.
I am living in a basement, but I can also do this. I mean, I wouldn't call this my favorite instrument, but it's the funniest one because of this.
Yeah.
I mean, there's actually a funny story with this guy. That's a 9-string by Legator, and man, I love this thing. It goes down to the G0,
Yeah.
and I bought it like a year ago, I guess. So I used to have a girlfriend
Mhm.
that lived in Italy,
Okay.
and I needed a visa to visit her. So I tried to get the visa. I tried to visit her on the holidays, like the Christmas holidays, but everything went to shit. I got denied the visa, and later I found out that, well, it wasn't worth it, like, at all. But in the end, I had the money. I saw the listing for this little baby, and now I have the stupid, very low, stinky, stinky, chuggy, chuggy. Yeah,
Yes. Perfect.
yeah. Well, it goes real low, and well, after the Hollow Castle, well, after, I just, with the music video, I released the remix, remaster, re-record of the Hollow Castle that I did fully on my own. Got the reasons because the guy that mixed Hollow Castle originally, well, his mix was good enough to just start my like career, just to put stuff out there. But oh man, it was done really poorly. And also, that guy recorded the bass while he was like on drugs. And I
Oh
mean, I can respect the attitude. It's
yeah. Rock and
quirky,
roll.
funny. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But then I listened to the track and I was like, holy crap, man, you just don't give a flying fuck about me, right? And so I just did it fully by myself. I mean, I've made a lot of mistakes. I've made a lot of mixing, mastering mistakes. Like, the balancing is somewhere in shits, but the bass now is cool. Overall, like, the song resonates with me more. I remember when we were filming the music video, we got just so tired of hearing the same song over and over and over again. And I remember myself not really going to re-listen to this song like that often.
Right.
But after I mixed it on my own, I listen to this like regularly, and I'm pretty proud of the work I've done, and I just
Sure.
enjoy the music now. Well, it's kind of a actually really relieving feeling.
Well, trust
Yeah.
me, as somebody that has to listen to, the episodes and the interviews over and over and over again to
Oh
get,
yeah.
the editing right. Trust me, I understand hearing something at absolute nauseum and wanting to just put
Oh
your head into the wall. I mean,
yeah.
all of them take they take the amount of time that they take, and by the time the episode airs, I don't even hear it.
Oh yeah.
I'll come back to it in like a month and I'll check it out, but
Well,
just getting things the way that I want it, and deciding parts to cut out, for time or whatever reason, and you end up listening to the same minute, 2 minutes over and over and over again, trying to get the sound just right. So yeah, I get it.
well, I actually I also do some like mixing, mastering, like as a session work. Like just now, I'm mixing the track for those hardcore guys, and the worst thing is that when you spend a lot of time with the song, like even month with the song, and then it becomes an earworm, and you
Right.
just cannot turn it off, and it keeps eating away at your brain, and I'm like, oh man, I guess I'm stuck. Guess there's no more music, just this song. Oh well. Yeah.
You were talking about doing the session work. I was going to ask, do you have any cool session stories?
Session stories. Well,
Anything interesting ever happened while recording, or anybody ever lose their shit?
mm, yeah, kinda, I guess. Well, I mean, I've got some interesting contexts. For example, like I'm working with a band of really, really young musicians.
Okay.
Like the oldest one is 19, guitar player. Then there's the bassist who is 16, and
Oh,
then
really
there is
young kids? Yeah.
the drummer who
Uh-huh.
plays like I mean 16th notes are pretty good, but he does these little blasts like the two notes in
Okay.
30 seconds, sorry, and he's 14, man.
Wow.
Like imagine little scrawny kid
Yeah.
playing blast beats at 14 years old, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my
Like
god.
like a little Joey Jordison.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And he's got that energy too, that attitude. Like
Yeah. That's so cool.
I got a lot of respect to the kid. Well, other stories are like, well, I used to play in a folk band. I mean, it was real terrible. At least I got paid,
Hey, there
But
you go.
but
Yeah.
the guy, he used to, well, he loved fantasy a lot, and he used to say, "Oh, our shows need to be like magic. Therefore, my dear friend Scott, you need to paint your fucking face blue."
Wow, like
Like this
Avatar,
wizard.
like the
Actually,
Blue Man Group.
yeah, like the Smurfs.
Yeah, the Smurfs. Yeah.
Well, I actually played shows with that band with this guitar, the Jeff Loomis Cygnus, or however you spell it. It's got the little dive bomby thingy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember I
I like that fretboard, man. That's nice
oh yeah,
looking.
that's just, well, probably untreated or just lightly lacquered maple. And yeah,
Hmm.
it feels great, but this guitar, it's a beast, and it's a beast you gotta fight because the neck twists, turns like in all the directions imaginable, and sometimes it's a nightmare to play. But then you go to the guitar guy, and well, it becomes the best instrument I've ever held in my hands.
Yeah.
It's just this love-hate stuff.
Oh, that's like people say about the Rickenbacker all the time. Is
Oh, yeah.
it has such a unique sound. Obviously incredibly iconic from the Beatles to Motorhead,
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
they say that the maintenance on them is such a nightmare because it has the dual truss rod. and people say that the maintenance on them is such a pain that you like playing it, you like the sound, that classic Rickenbacker tone, but the maintenance drives people crazy. And I think for the price, I've played one before, and I get it, but I don't get it. I get why you would want one. For that price, there's a lot of other great stuff out there
Oh yeah, for
for the
sure.
same money.
Well, I mean, the only like justifiable reason for purchasing a really expensive instrument for me is just the personal preference. I mean,
Sure.
I got my dreams for the Music Man because like one of my inspirations, Jason Richardson,
Hmm.
uses Music Man like the Petrucci model. Oh man, I remember that guitar with the poplar barrel top. It
Yeah.
looked so sick. Yeah, right. But that guitar is like 3,000, like $5,000.
Oh, it's
That's a lot of
crazy.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, like probably anything higher than $800 or $1,000, you probably don't need that because instruments nowadays, I mean, they are really, really great. And as far as maintenance go, I don't really understand the two truss rods maintenance because like I got an A string here and I actually have a bass here. This little fella, this is the uh um, um this is the C0 little fella. I mean
Oh,
he's
I
got
love
the
that. I love that finish. I wish
oh
see,
yeah.
this is all audio. I wish people could see this, but this has a beautiful finish.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. And it's like it's a Harley Benton, it's a clone of Ibanez BTB.
Okay.
And yeah, that's the six string. I mean, it looks great. It sounds fantastic. When I was younger, I also like shaved the neck down,
Hmm.
just so the neck wouldn't be glossy.
Okay.
And yeah, it became even more comfortable. So
Nice.
right, well, what I was talking about two truss rods.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got a couple of instruments with two truss rods, and I mean they're kind of easy to maintain. I don't know what the fuss is about.
I just know that whenever I've watched videos on the Ricks, especially like the 4003s, that pretty much that's what Lemmy used a lot of. And I'll watch like the luthier videos, and guys are talking about um, adjusting the one and adjusting the other. And um, I mean, I wouldn't know from experience. I don't own one. Everything that I have is it's got one truss rod, and for the most part, I don't really have to do much to it. I have a Schecter
Oh,
that one seems like every every extreme. So you go from winter, to spring, or then fall to winter. That's when I have to do a little bit of an adjustment. But outside of that, nothing. And then I've got some that, like my Jackson Spectra, I've never had to do anything to the truss rod ever. It's just fine.
oh yeah. Actually, you've asked me about what was my favorite instrument,
Yeah.
and it's a custom-made one of Headless eight-string guitar. I,
Oh,
oh,
nice.
oh, it's wait a bit, wait a
Yep.
bit.
Take your time.
It's over here.
Oh, look at that.
Just a moment.
Sure.
Yeah, plugged back in. So I use this guitar live to record and to, well, for everything basically. But the only problem is that it's really hard to switch out the pickups because they're just covered by this wood
Yeah.
and in epoxy. And I gotta ask a specialized luthier to do this. And a lot of them are busy in my area. So yeah, it's kind of
Same.
hard.
Same here. Yeah. If you need
Yeah.
work done, it's not going to be the same day. You're gonna have to wait a
Yeah.
little bit.
Or maybe like a few little bits, 10
I
times a little bit. Yeah.
depending on I've got a few places around me, and
Mm.
one time I got lucky. The guy told me that he just happened to have some free time, and he said I could come back in a couple of days.
Oh,
But outside of that, I've had, all right, come back in a month, and you're just like, man, good thing I've got other stuff to play.
yeah, I had those stories for sure, man.
You know.
And also the guy that made this guitar, I almost had a 10-string guitar with him, but he postponed the delivery like by a year and a half, and it was
Wow.
just a pure. I mean, he had his like conditions. He had some family trouble, so that's totally understandable. But
Sure.
yeah, that was just a terribly long wait. So just
Now I'm trying to
it
make
never
it out.
happened.
What is that? It's by the, I want to say, the 12th fret. What is that fret marker?
Oh, it's a little shit stain, you know. It's not supposed to be here. If that would be like absolutely my guitar. I got this second hand,
Okay.
and the model is called the Rhino, so it's a little wooden rhino.
Oh, I see. Okay, I can see it
Yeah.
now. Yeah, very cool.
He's kind of cute.
I
I
like it.
really don't like him, but
No,
he's
oh, I
here.
think it's cool.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
So we were talking about the instruments not going out of tune, not needing much maintenance, and this is the one. Like I've been through winter with this. I've played some shows with it. I almost don't need to tune this guitar. Like that's how impressive this is.
Yeah, that's how I feel about the Spectra. Is I can play it hard for a couple hours. I can put it
Oh,
away, and the next day, it's just the finest little turns, and it's done. It's no kind of extreme, sit there for 5 minutes and tune it up. Nah, it's quick. It's fast.
or like sit there for a couple of hours if you want to tune the Floyd Rose.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, the Floyd Rose guys, man, I feel, because
Yeah.
I've seen people do it, and it just takes for fucking ever.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I get somewhat good with it. I mean, I think it takes me only 40 minutes to an hour to change strings on the Floyd Rose. Yeah, and that's a hassle. But in the end, it's kind of worth it because when you listen to some Lorna Shore stuff,
Right.
yeah, there's a lot of lever work with the strings, a lot of dive bombs, and some cool articulations. I
Sure.
remember one guest solo I did. I've listened to Buried Alive a lot at that point, and that's just the hip hop progressive deathcore band with like a lot of flutters and fast lever movements. So yeah, and then I just went, oh, this solo is going to be the proggy hip hop deathcore kind of thing, and it just worked, and it felt amazing, it sounded amazing, and I felt amazing.
Hell yeah. Very cool. Well,
Yeah.
let's turn for a bit. Let's get into your music. But before we start that, we're going to take a short break, and we're going to listen to Swift. This is Hollow Castle.
The
was some killer shit, brother. That's a good track.
Damn, thanks,
That's
man.
that's
So,
good stuff. Walk me through. So I want to talk about the song, but people that are listening to the show, there's also a video for Hollow Castle, which I've seen. Go find that because that is a killer video, and I wanted to ask about how that came to be.
oh well, I've been putting off the making of the music video like for a while, and I was really scared, because it takes a lot of money, a lot of stuff, but mostly lots of money, right? And so I thought, well, someday maybe I will make a music video, but for now, I'll probably just release my first song and like all this little rambling, mumbly stuff. But then I got into working with this rapper guy from the place I live in. He's kind of huge, but not really. And I remember saying to him like, "Oh, see, I've made this lyric video for my first song, and it cost me like around $100. I
Okay.
got a real great guy." Yeah. So and then he was like really surprised because he's got a guy he takes a lot less money for some killer shit, man. I mean, you know, you've seen the music video,
Yep.
yeah, and that's his work, and I'm really impressed by what he did. His name is Alex, like the AV. That's him.
Okay.
All right. So, and I got in touch with him. Well, we've made some promo stuff for that artist, and I was like, wait a second. If we are making some stuff for that artist, and I'm already in that project, like I'm the guitar, the extreme vocal guy for that band, and I thought, well, I also got my drummer into the project because, like, he plays great. He's pretty technical. He could be better, but I am like a little devil sitting on his left shoulder and just
Right.
whispering in his ear, man, you gotta play those sextuplets, man. Just faster in the legs, man. It's worth it. Then he cries for a little bit, goes into his basement, and plays everything perfectly. Well, for me at least. That
Yeah.
we all got our imperfections, but man, I love playing with that dude, like the red-haired guy.
Yeah.
It's funny that he kind of looks like Josh Miller from Darkroom because, well, that was one of my big inspirations. And then he's like, oh yeah, that bearded, red-haired guy who looks kind of like Leon from the film Leon. Yeah, right. Yeah. And so, well, I thought if we are already there, then why won't we just make a music video for my song? And it just started completely on improv, on point, and we shot the first part in the rehearsal studio. Then we went to a separate location that was tempting me for I think a year, like that with sand and like broken doors. Then we just went there and whoa, we filmed everything, and then we spent like I think a month and a half or 2 months just editing the stuff because we got no plan. We just had 8 or 10 takes, and the audio. And well, I was there while we were editing the music video, so yeah, I know it takes a real long time,
Well,
but
that's what I was going to ask. So you were involved heavily in the editing of the
yeah,
video
of
as
course.
well. Okay.
I mean, I'm kind of in my locust control phase, I guess. I was a very bad perfectionist. So, yeah, it kind of matters greatly to me to be involved in stuff, like for my vision to be translated as best as it can be, I guess. So, and I think in the end it turned out really great because, like, the editing guy, well, he got something for himself out of this experience. I got a lot of things. I learned a lot of things, and we have a great music video in the end. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a killer video. I really enjoyed that.
man, that means a lot to me. Thanks.
Yeah, that's really cool. So are there plans for more videos with the same guy? Because it seems like you guys worked really well together.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I've just called him a couple of days ago, and we pushed the second music video like in progress. We are at the stage where I'm setting up some costumes, like some
Cool.
ideas. We know which colors we want to use. We know which locations in general we want to use. But yeah, this one is going to be a little bit more planned. We'll probably get everything done in just one day
Yeah.
because that's really efficient. And my drummer, well, he also drives, so he's gonna kill me for choosing a location that's 3 hours away.
Right.
But that's the creative vision. That's worth it. I'm not insane.
No,
Hopefully.
if it
Yeah.
looks good, then
Yeah.
it was worth it.
Yeah, and that's also hopefully if we get there, that would be a really meaningful location for me, because like the project Swift, it's actually somewhat something of a depiction of my life.
Okay.
So when I was thinking, what should I write my music about? And it was always this cryptic feeling like I need to make music. Like there's just stuff in the back of my consciousness that wants to be formed, be finished, and to be alive. Yeah. So, and then I thought, well, I have my own life. I'm like a character of my own stories. So
Right.
why would I why wouldn't I bring that to life? And so shooting in that remote location, it would mean like a lot for the story that's actually behind the song that I'm working on. And it's all a part of the album, which will yeah, I can't tell when it will be finished, but I've got like 6 songs almost ready,
Okay.
and there are like 2 more to go, but it's all on me. So either I will have this hyper fixation and I'll get everything done by summer, or it's gonna take like a real long time. But I guess it would be, well, I mean, in the end of the day, it's just inevitable. While I'm alive, I can not do it. You know?
No, absolutely. And that was a follow-up question is, will the second music video be on the back of a full release? But it sounds like you've got a full album in the works.
I got the full album in the works, yes, but it won't be on the back of a full release because uh, I want to release songs as it goes,
Hmm.
like through singles. And
That seems very common that a lot of bands are doing that
yeah,
is
right, because
putting out.
the album
Yeah,
form is just dead nowadays. I mean, you can have 10 info points, or you can have one that you worked like a couple of years ago, and then for the next couple of years you work on the next thing, and you just not appearing on social media. Everybody forgets about you, and
exactly. Yeah, you got to
uh,
keep
yeah,
putting it. I mean, it's like you said, you could take 10 songs, put out an album, post the album, and then that's kind of it. But if you take a full album's worth of material, say 10 songs, and you post 10 singles,
yeah.
that's 10 different posts, that's 10 different engagement points, it's 10 different reminders to the people that listen to your music that you're still out doing something.
Yeah, right. And especially if you release them in not album order, then it gives people something to look out for, I guess, because
Yeah,
it can be kind of disappointing when you've put out all this music and then you just release an album which is basically a compilation of the things that you've done.
right.
But if it gives them order, if it gives them meaning, and if there are like a couple of tracks that haven't been released yet, then it's kind of worth it. I think, at least I hope so. That's just the stuff that I keep telling myself about all the singles versus albums. Yeah,
No,
but
I think that's the way
yeah,
to do it. I mean, constant engagement is really important,
yeah,
especially in an era that we're in where if you're not constantly pushing stuff out, there is a good chance that you'll be forgotten. And I would say it's possibly a downside of what I do, putting out shows every 2 weeks. I mean, could I, in theory, put out an episode every week? I guess so, but it prevents burnout and it gives me time to relax. It gives me time to go, okay, right after this interview, I don't have to start editing right away. I can wait till tomorrow. I
Okay.
can live my, I mean, just like you and everybody else doing music or promotional stuff, we have lives outside of this.
Yeah.
So I can live my normal life and then come back to the podcast in a day or two. And I can spend an hour a night at my leisure instead of going, okay, I have to sit here for the next 8 hours and I have to make sure that
Yeah.
this is done because there's a show every week. No, it's easier to do for every 2 weeks. So that's why like I'll post like goofy memes or something, just stuff
Yeah.
so people know that the page is still active and there's still,
Yeah.
activity. But no, I think what you're doing makes absolute sense going the singles route. And I like not posting them in album order. I think that's a good way to go about it.
Yeah, because they can be split up into separate stories. Like I got a single that's supposed to be a maxi single, like 3 songs, 2 deathcore songs, and 1 instrumental, and
Cool.
one leads into another, and then they are connected. So they can be viewed as a separate story, and they can also be all viewed as a separate stories independently. I think that's also a very important part of like storytelling albums because sometimes people get too caught up on the idea of like this storytelling that songs don't make any sense when you listen to them on their own. And I think it's very important for the song to be complete and not needing an album to surround it in order for
Yeah.
it to work,
Oh, I
especially
get it.
in
Yeah.
today's day and age.
Yeah, absolutely. Because now anymore, you may only get that person's attention for 3 minutes. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
that's why on a regular episode of the podcast, I only play 5 bands. I could play 15 bands. But the problem is, if you listen to a podcast and they play 15 bands, great. Tell me the seventh band. You can't. You can't do it.
Yeah.
But if I give you five and I go, who's the third band? You're going to remember 5 bands. If
Probably.
if if you give people too much, it's not memorable.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And because I want people, obviously I've said it nauseum before. The idea of the podcast is you find I I'd prefer that you like all 5 bands, but the idea is that even if you just find one band that you really like, go follow their social media, go, whatever, download their album, give them a click. All that algorithm bullshit. It it lets the bands know that their music is being heard and that their music is being appreciated. If you put on 25 songs, you're not going to remember all that. You're not going to remember 25 different
Yeah,
bands. It's impossible. I don't care if you write them down. You're still not going to remember 25 bands.
you're right.
You
Well,
know,
a funny thing, you said that the attention span is like around 3 minutes, and therefore you only play 5 bands. And I actually got like instantly this joke in my mind because, oh yeah, it's only 3 minutes, therefore, and because of that reason, I'm writing a 7 minute track, actually
yeah,
9 minute track. Well, because it's the outro, it's the end of the story, it's like the culmination, death kind of, or
yeah,
ascension episode. I mean, some of my stuff is really mythical and
yeah.
like fantasy driven almost. Well, mostly Lovecraftian horror. I'm really, really inspired by all this
Okay.
stuff. But yeah,
Oh, that's
actually,
cool.
actually,
So, oh yeah.
look. I got a cat.
Hey, what's up, dude? What's up,
Yeah.
little buddy?
Well, this little body is called Mary.
Hi,
This
Mary.
body is a girl. Look, he's like a battle orc.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, see more people when you come on the show to do an interview. You gotta have a cat with you.
Oh yeah, for
I'm
sure.
a cat guy, so yeah, if you do
Oh,
interviews on the show, but bring a cat. I want to check it out.
oh,
That's
great.
cool.
Well, here you go. A little battle orc, a little lazy orc for you.
Perfect. See, this makes the interview better. I get to see a cat. So we were talking about the guy you did the music video with and
Yeah.
how well that you guys work together and some of these other projects. Are you finding it easy to find people to work with?
No,
No.
it's really hard for me. And well, it kind of goes both ways, man, because when I was younger, I remember just life giving me lessons that I need people to work with. I need like a team, somebody I can rely on. And then through years, like now I'm 23 and I'm getting this life lesson that I don't really need anybody because like everyone I've worked with, they weren't really interested in like helping me. They were
Hmm.
interested in their like own motivations and projects, and all they gave me was experience and skills that I can then use for my stuff. And yeah, like finding people who are interested in the same extreme music as you and in the same level of production and the level of details, well, it's really hard, but I found another funny thing, like when you just put yourself out there, just I'm open to do any work. Here I am, here's my skill set, and I can offer it to you.
Right.
Then people come, people bring their people with them, and you just find these connections that just work, just seemingly out of nowhere, out of random.
Yeah.
So it can be really frustrating to find anybody, and then you just find the right person and it just magically makes sense. And I remember when I was starting out with the design for Swift and like everything surrounding the first song, I just by chance buying of our Craigslist, I bought a T-shirt because I was really inspired by a T-shirt.
Hmm.
It looked cool. It had this demon kind of guy on the red background. It was a custom one-off. And I met with the girl that was selling it. She turned out to be a designer, so she designed my logo, and it turned out great. It looked almost like Distance logo, like the band Distant. They play down-tempo, deathcore kind of stuff. Yeah, and basically everything surrounding the project has been like that. Like I was hoping for a result, and then out of nowhere, I found a person that gave me much more than I expected.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like magic. I mean, I'm really, really grateful to those people um, because like that's really valuable. I almost don't know how to put it into words because I really appreciate that.
No, that's good. Let's see. So we get the full album that's being worked on. Second music video that's being worked on.
Yep, yep.
What else? What else does Swift have in the ways, or even just you outside of Swift? Any upcoming projects, new music outside of finishing the full record?
Well, I mean, all the music I do besides Swift is kind of commercial, I guess,
Mm.
mostly. Well, commercial for me, it's still some underground, like horror rap stuff, hardcore stuff, some rock stuff, deathcore
You'll have
stuff.
to send me some of that. The
Oh
rap
yeah,
stuff. I want to check it out.
oh yeah, for sure. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, it's in a foreign language to you, but
So
I
that's cool. So what?
I think you'll enjoy it. Is
Yeah.
some of them actually with that trap guy? That was the first song that was fully produced and arranged by me. So it was a huge Kickstarter, first of all, for my confidence. Like, oh shit, I can actually do it, start to finish, all on my own.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that just feels really great. Right. So, but most of the stuff is, yeah, just it's just work. So my
Yeah.
regular life is teaching people, writing songs, mixing songs, and just yeah, I make money that way. But as far as the like main thing that I do, it's of course Swift. And as far as Swift go, I mean, I got probably probably two maxi singles that I'm working on. They're gonna be something like 3 tracks each,
Okay.
and hopefully I'll get them done by the end of May. But I'm really not sure because see, just you never know, especially when you don't have a label, any deadlines. When you're starting out, it's like, oh well, I can just be a little bit lighter on myself, probably. Oh,
Right,
that's
because you don't
that's
have a
switching.
specific.
Yeah,
You don't have
uh,
deadlines. You
Yeah,
can kind of make your own deadlines.
yeah, for sure. And I think I wouldn't call that laziness. That's mostly getting experience and getting like the hard skills for the job. Because
Sure.
I remember just not understanding how to make a song at all. And then a year passed, and now I kind of know how to make a song, but it takes some time. Then I
Right.
spend more time, I make more songs, and the process just goes more and more efficiently, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
very cool.
oh,
Um,
by the
oh, go
way,
ahead.
as
Yeah.
far as stuff goes, well, I have like the music video planned, which we'll probably do in a couple of months, and then we're gonna make some promo clips, which are probably going to be released even earlier than this interview goes live.
Okay.
Uh, I
Yeah,
actually,
send me one. I'll put it up.
oh yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. The stuff that this guy does, like the music video guy, it's just great. He specializes in the dark art kind of stuff, like the glitches, the shadows, and
Yeah.
everything. So yeah, actually, I got a fiance. We recently moved in together, and she's a
Nice.
painter.
Okay,
So
cool.
so she's got lots of paintings that she doesn't really need, and we figured out we'll use them for this really cool shot of burning the paintings down, like
Oh,
somewhere in
okay.
the forest or in the
Yeah.
city. And one more little spoiler, like the guy that did the lyric video for Hollow Castle, which is released on Slam Worldwide, well, he just recently started taking 3D really seriously.
Okay.
And like probably some of the ideas that require 3D, because where can you find like tall amber pillars, right?
Yeah.
No,
Nowhere. Right.
but 3D, like, it just gives you the opportunities. And we've already made some arrangements, so hopefully the next promo reels are going to be really cool and really artistic.
Awesome, man. I can't wait to check them out. Like I said, if
Yeah.
you send them over to me, I'll
All
plug
right.
them. I'll plug them on the Instagram and the Facebook. And
No, that would be really awesome, man.
hell yeah,
I
that's what Black Tornado does.
oh yeah.
That's what we do, man. Try to plug these bands, and if you guys got cool stuff to show, I wanna show it off.
All right. Well,
You know.
it's great.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool, man. It sounds like you got a lot going for you, not just with the music, but your personal life and stuff. That's really cool.
yeah, it's kind of, scary almost talking about this stuff because it was
Sure.
it was really hard to get to this point. It's like all my life has been falling apart for most of the time, and then it just with time comes together, and yeah, it can be scary actually, but it's pretty nice that in the end you have something to at least show for your work.
Absolutely. No, and it sounds like you're making the right steps. You're definitely making killer music, so keep that
Oh,
up.
thanks
And
a lot.
yeah, it sounds like it's going really well. This was good, man. Thank you, Scott.
Yeah,
I'm glad you came on the show. Glad we got to do this.
thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man.
It's a lot.
All right, and again, I want to thank Scott from Swift for coming on the show and talking about new music videos, new music that's coming out, and of course, as soon as those teasers come out, you'll be able to see them right here on the Black Tornado podcast. As always, I'm your host, Adam. Be good, be safe, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks. Peace.